I'm still ranting about Hanjin and the container ship lines and this whole issue of too much supply and not enough demand. You'd think that the steamship lines would have gotten smart about it and done something to create some pricing power for themselves. The problem is they're a process-driven industry. It's a pretty simple process. Freight, cargo, goes into the container to the terminal. At the terminal, container goes on a boat. Boat moves. Container's unloaded off the boat, and then container is delivered. It's a commodity service. There's nothing that differentiates one carrier versus the other carrier. And when you're in a commodity service business and you have too much supply, well, and not enough demand, you don't have any pricing power. And the steamship lines don't have any choice. It's not like they can just get rid of a ship because they're all committed to these ships. And these ships have to be generating some money for the investors. The German banks are pretty upset about this issue because they own a lot of these ships that aren't generating any revenue. So the carriers are left with this fill the boat, grab every box mentality. They have expenses. They got to pay for the boat and they got to pay to operate the boat. And they got to pay for that boat whether it has 5 containers or 5,000 containers or 25,000 containers on it. And so they have to accept whatever freight that they can get, whatever cargo that they can get onto that ship, because at least that lessens the amount of money that they lose. They need the revenue. Something that further irritated the whole situation is that Hanjin was a member of an alliance with Costco and Evergreen and K-Line. These other container liners, they all shared capacity with each other. So I could be a shipper working with K-Line, and I think my container is going on a K-Line ship, but it could really go on a Hanjin ship because Hanjin had the capacity that day to move the container. So when Hanjin's ships stopped unloading, and when everybody said, don't unload anymore, Hanjin, when that happened, well, K-Line's containers got impounded too, and Evergreen's and Costco's. Something else to remember is all of these carriers were competitors with each other. When it came time to negotiate rates, they all knew that Hanjin was negotiating just as hard as K-Line, just as hard as Costco, just as hard as Evergreen. If they were a little bit healthier, they could drive the price down. Hanjin would have to drop their price down to match. So there could have been some predatory action going on. I'm not saying that it did happen, but it could have. You'd think that the global lines would figure out how to reduce their capacity, and they've been working on it. And with Hanjin dropping out, well, that drops about 5%, maybe 6% out of the global supply. But it still doesn't make a difference when you are 30 or maybe 40% over capacity versus demand. The real rescue needs to be an increasing demand.